going to go into the health aspects of why I like zero drop shoes or barefoot shoes. So there's 3 things you do not want to have in a shoe. I'm going to explain it. And if you want to learn all the health benefits of all the things I nerd out on health, I am a chiropractor by trade. I look at thousands of x-rays, and one of the things I notice, shoes are destroying our joints. I'm like, why is there so many degenerative spines, people with knee problems, bunions, ankle problems, and they're getting younger? I'm like, this doesn't make sense. We got to look at it. And so shoes is the easiest thing. Then having regenerative exercises, strengthening and stretching, because if you're stretching all the time, right, then those joints can shift back out of position. So you want stretching with strengthening. And then obviously get adjusted. That's the easiest one. Those bones of your spine are the breaker box, right? They control the system. There's no successful spinal cord transplant, right? So it's the most important system, making sure that's well maintained for nervous system function. That's also going to help mobility in there. And then you add those other things on top, and your body's going to regenerate faster than it's degenerating, and you can live a nice, healthy, happy lifestyle for a long time. That encompasses it, and we have some nutrition in there. So, okay, that's my point. If you want to learn all that stuff, go to Life Without Fear Chiropractic YouTube channel or page or website, wherever you want to go. Okay, 3 things you don't want in a shoe is an elevated heel. Why? Why not? Okay, let me give the 3 things. Or yes, 3 things. I think I'm going to get this. 4 things. 4 things. I lied. It's 4 things. Elevated heel is what we don't want. We typically do not want an orthotic or arch support. Most people say, well, I'm just flat-footed, right? Why is that? It's because we're wearing crutches or a brace, right? It's like wearing a back brace and saying my low back's underdeveloped. It's like, yeah, it is, because you're dependent on that brace. You take off the brace and you start developing those muscles and train them slowly over time, you won't need the back brace, right? Same thing for our feet. And that's why most people need an orthotic, is because our shoes are destroying our feet in their brace for the tendons and ligaments not to have to work. They're dependent on the shoe, okay? So orthotic's gonna be number 2. That's the first Band-Aid is what I call it. That's what we don't want. 3rd is gonna be, we want a wide toe box. I'll go over why a narrow toe box is terrible for us in a second. And then the 4th is now we're seeing the second Band-Aid, which is just pounds and pounds of foam or cushion. And I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you guys get my point. Lots of cushion underneath, because we're causing lots of joint problems by the shoes that we wear. That causes aches and pains, and then we just put more foam underneath and hope that that works. We never ask the question, why are these things there in the first place? Right? And so let's go into why we choose zero drop or barefoot. I'm going to try to do this as quickly as I can. So zero drop, you want it level front to back. This has a thicker sole. This whole bottom part here is a thick sole. Barefoot's going to be like super thin, like super thin. So not great for concrete in my experience. Great if you're going to be on the earth or different shape grounds or surfaces. That's barefoot. That's why rock climbers wear basically barefoot shoes. Zero drop's going to be for those of us that work out on hard surfaces like concrete, or work on hard surfaces at work that want to have like stylish shoes. And I have a different one. If you guys have questions on like boots and stuff like that, I have a different partnership with a company that I can give you the link for that and go over why those are good for like boots and outdoor jobs and things that you can be hard on them and beat them up. Okay, so we want it level front to back. If we have too much, if we have a heel lift, that's going to put stress on the disc on the back side. It's called hyperlordosis. It's going to compress the disc on the back side of our spine, pushing them into our spinal cord and spinal nerves. And those nerves go to the reproductive organs, digestive tract, and urinary tract. Also go to the muscles of the low back. The glutes can cause things like sciatica. It goes to all the nerves that go down to our legs and feet. So it's going to cause hyperlordosis. Structurally, when we have hyperlordosis, that means that more stress goes onto our femur heads, our knees, our ankles, and our feet. So that's why we don't want an elevated heel. Second thing is that orthotic is we want to develop the tendons and muscles. So tendon is what attaches muscle to bone. Ligament is bone to bone. If we can develop those, if you look at explosive animals, right, super athletic animals, you're looking at like deer and like horses, right? They don't have a ton of musculature in their legs until you get up to the glutes, right? The reason for that is they have strong tendons and ligaments. And so with that, trying to keep that out of the sun, I know the sun's shifting here. So with that, we don't want that arch support because we want to be able to develop with the flexion of the shoe, those tendons and ligaments. And there's a transition period for that. So don't expect the first week when you're like, oh man, I'm sore. Give it, I always say 30 to 90 days. Once you start to see those results, you're gonna be happy that you did it because you'll become way more athletic, but you're also gonna support the joints of your body so much better, and you're gonna age and regenerate more than you degenerate your body. And then the wide toe box. This is going to be the other important part. So we talked about the zero drop and not having too much foam here. We already talked about that. Foam is just a Band-Aid for the problems that we're causing from having a heel lift, and then also the orthotic, and then not having a wide toe box. A wide toe box lets our feet spread out. So just like the hand, we we have tendons. When those spread out, that gives us more stability, gives us more push off too. So it's gonna give us way more explosiveness. If you look at like a baby's foot, their big toe is further away from their other toes. I was trying to think of what to call them, the other toes, because it hasn't been forced into shoes yet, and that's the natural way that it should be. And the reason for that is if we don't have that wide toe box, we have a narrow toe box, our toes get squished together, and then our toes start to do this, and that's when bunions form because your body's trying to get stability, right? And it's not getting that with a narrow toe box. And then what happens over time, if that's not stable enough, is then your tibia or your shin bone rotates. That causes more stress on your knee. And if they're still not stable enough, then your hips are gonna wing in, which is gonna open your inner leg is gonna turn out. So you're gonna turn out like this. From the backside, it's gonna wing them in, and that's gonna cause those glutes and low back muscles to work overtime. That's why people start to have low back problems, and it also can compress that sciatic nerve, and we start to see people with sciatica. Easiest way to fix that is having a wide toe box. So that's why that wide toe box is so important. So if you can get rid of those 4 things, is an elevated heel, if you can get rid of the orthotic, and you can get rid of the narrow toe box, and then 4th, get rid of all the extra cushion to start developing your feet and tendons and ligaments, and help take that stress off all the joints from your low back to your hips, to your knees, to your ankles, to your feet. It's gonna allow you to be much more efficient, much more explosive, so better performance, better energy. I always say when you take the energy out of the muscles that are working overtime, you turn that internally, you get to use that to regenerate and use on whatever else you wanna do, and that's when peak performance hits. So that's in a nutshell of health of shoes.